Okay, and we are off. So, um, grateful to be in a real-time class with you. And if you are catching this via Zoom, welcome. It's very good to have you here as well. So, I have called today's class a core of goodness, a core of goodness. And in yoga, we have a concept that is called the koshas. The koshas refers to these layers of the self, literally translated as sheaths. And that the sheaths basically refer to our physical body, our mental body, our breath body, our emotional body. And at the core of all of that, residing in the heart, is the core self, this core of goodness, sometimes referred to as the joy body or the bliss body. And what tends to happen as part of our human experience is that we get caught in these sheaths. You can think of it like webs, like spider webs, and that we have different experiences of ourselves, like beliefs that we carry about ourselves, maybe not helpful beliefs, or painful emotions, or traumatic memories, experiences of our lives. Maybe it's physical tension and pain. And all of those are very normal experiences. We're not doing anything wrong to have experiences of self-doubt or heaviness or worry, or physical pain. But sometimes what happens is that we over-identify with those layers of self, and they become all that we think that we are. And we have a hard time seeing past that negative belief or that traumatic event or that painful emotion. And we can't quite make our way through those sheaths to arrive at the core of self. And so yoga gives us this kind of pathway to untangle ourselves from those webs so that we can see ourselves more clearly and we can arrive at that core truth of who we are. This doesn't mean that we don't attend to our pain or our doubt or our tenderness, but that we don't want to lose sight of our goodness as we do so. So I call today's class a core of goodness, and it's really about finding your way back into that residing, that resting and that knowing of who you really are, or at least what your birthright says that you have access to. And on a physical level, this class focuses on opening the side bodies, fronts and backs of the heart, and we will do various forms of bow shapes with our body and dancer's pose, and we'll kind of enter into a little bit of that dance. So really, it's all about the heart today, and I invite you to breathe in and out of your heart as we go along. On a physical level, it is also helpful to have blocks for today's practice, two of them. And if you don't have blocks, some sturdy books or some sturdy soup cans or water bottles or something that you can bring the floor just a little bit closer to you. And the poem for today as we dive in. So I will hold up Shalon Harkin's book. I have been diving into this lately and have just been so moved. I will put a link to purchase her book, certainly in the comments area of the YouTube and wherever else you might be catching this, and later I'll stick it in our chat for us. And the poem that I'm reading for today is called Read the Fine Print. Read the fine print. Some days I awaken so certain of the world's goodness. This poem is a reminder for those other days when I need to convince my stubborn mind that all is well. Let me present the evidence. Have you noticed all the fastidious care that went into pinning up so many stars to decorate the night sky? What did that? And the way all of nature has a tidiness to it, even gnarled trees, even dirt. Or sit a moment and puzzle over the masterful origami of each flower and think, What cosmic interior decorator chose that gold for those rolling hills? And before that, who thought up tenderness? Who is it that came up with all these colors? And what genius said autumn? My only simple conclusion as I sit amazed at the pileup of gifts is that we're part of a great contract of goodness. And there's love written into every atom if you get close enough to read the fine print. Just take that in for a moment. As I sit amazed at the pileup of gifts, is that we are part of a great contract of goodness. And there's love written into every atom if you get close enough to read the fine print. So, with that said, let's find our way onto our mats and to discover the fine print within ourselves as that illuminates that contract of goodness and that core of goodness that you too have. All right, arriving into a comfortable seat, whatever that means for you. And we'll start with a little bit of breath awareness. I'm going to sit up on a block today. And as we start with breath awareness in this practice, I'll invite you to simply allow the breath to move within you. Rather than controlling your experience of your breath, this is an opportunity to just notice the feeling of the breath. You might notice where the breath flows easily, or if it gets a little bit caught in a web. And simply notice what is present within you. Again, my intention today is to invite you to sense that you are part of a great contract of goodness and that you have a core of goodness. And with this simple breath awareness here and now, breathing in, I know that I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know that I am breathing out. As my in-breath grows deep, my out-breath grows slow. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I feel ease. Breathing in, I smile. Breathing out, I release. Dwelling in the present moment, I know this is a wonderful moment. And I give thanks to Thich Nhat Hanh for those words, guiding us to sense the breath that guides us to sense that this is a wonderful moment. I invite you to bring one palm over your belly and one over your heart. And to find just a little bit of breath deepening here and a little bit of movement with your breath. So that as you inhale, you might find a little more length of your spine. And as you exhale, you just allow yourself to curl forward just a bit. And to know that this range of self in that extension and that contraction are both key elements to this human experience of you. And neither one defines you. That we might find these places of contraction, they help us turn toward our tender places. And that we can lengthen and reach and extend, but we don't need to abandon one for another. We can include both. And you can stay just as you are, hands resting on your body if that feels right. Or maybe allowing your arms to begin to move. And I'll offer a specific movement here, which is to kind of goalpost your arms and open your heart. Inhale. And exhale to bring elbows and palms together and give it a press. And then finding your range of motion, your rhythm, your breath. Good. Ah. And then slowly releasing your hands down. Personally, I'm moving the block out from under me from here on. You choose what serves you. And these first shapes can also easily be done in your bed or sitting on a chair or a couch. So really find what works here in this practice for you. We'll find a little bit of side body opening, just leaning to one side. We're going to get into the side bodies a whole lot today. So this is a nice, gentle, unforced greeting of your side bodies. You can stay one side for a few breaths. Let it feel good. And then we'll take it to the other side. A few breaths here, getting to know any sticky spots in your intercostals of the ribs or side body between ribs and your hip. And just gently saying hello. We're not forcing any change, just greeting yourself as you are. And then right back up through center. And this next one, I'll turn to the back for a moment, invite you to clasp your hands behind your back and then just reach them away. So just allowing yourself to kind of reach way behind you, not necessarily pulling down, but back. And you don't have to straighten through your elbows. And if reaching your hands together is hard, you can use something like a belt or a scarf and give more broadening to that range. I knew that scarf would come in handy there for something. So just finding some variation. And then bending your elbows, and I'll invite you to take your hands to one hip. And so I'm on my right hip here. You can choose, we'll do both sides. And if your hands are on your right hip, maybe beginning to lean your right ear toward your right shoulder and breathing into the left side of your neck. And then we'll come through center, head to center, reaching your hands away once again. And then taking your connected hands or hands with a scarf in some manner or another to your left hip. And then perhaps leaning your left ear towards your left shoulder, releasing your right shoulder down, breathing into the right side of your neck. And then very gently head to center, releasing your hands, and then just some shoulder rolls. You can roll them forward and roll them back and let it feel good. Great. And then from here, I'll invite you to bring your hands to your heart once again. And with this connection to your heart, we're going to reach away and turn and let your gaze follow. So you can follow your fingertips out and back around, and we switch sides. We'll call this the heart twist. And your exploration of this. So feel out whether you'd like to inhale as you reach and exhale to center, or exhale as you reach and inhale to center. And I'll let you find this in your own rhythm for the next few breaths or so. One more to each side. Beautiful. Moment back at heart center, back in center. Mm. And next invitation is to take your hands up overhead and we'll find what we'll call bear grip. So I'll have my right hand facing up, left hand down. And so you can see it just a little more clearly. I'm going to slide my hands away from each other and they're going to grip. So the fingertips are going to grip. And you can even kind of pull your elbows in opposite directions. Again, right hand up, left hand down, and just a little bit of a kind of gripping, pulling. Notice the sensation in your shoulders. Breathe into any sensations that arise. Beautiful. And we'll switch it out. Opposite hand on top. Here it is. You're going to find that grip. You're going to slide your hands away, let your fingers grip, and then let your elbows reach away. Maybe soften your shoulders from your ears, and then just send your breath into any sensations. Hmm. Good. And then let that go and give your wrists a roll in each direction. Give your elbows a roll in each direction. You might give your shoulders another roll, let your whole arms just be in flow for a moment. You can even shake something out. Ah. And then pausing for a moment, hands on your lap, your knees. And just sensing the feelings around your arms, shoulders, maybe chest. Good. And then from here, we'll find some joint rotations, right foot, one direction, and the other way. right shin in one direction. So these move pretty quickly, and you can always slow anything down if you want to stay in a spot longer, going both directions. Just kind of warming up into all of the joints sequentially, and then we're going to take nice big leg circles in one direction and the other way. Beautiful. And then from here, coming into deer, so right knee to inside of left foot, and an invitation to find a little twist in and out. And it can be nice to have your hand on your right hip so that you can feel this lifting and lowering of your hip as you twist to the left, and you might reach your right arm up overhead, feeling this long line. Beautiful way to get into the psoas and inner groin, but in such a gentle way. Again, non-forced movements, waking you up to yourself and perhaps noticing those sticky areas of physical tension and welcoming yourself as you are, knowing that we're here to create some unwinding. One more here. Beautiful. And then I'll invite you to take your right leg long. And this time with your right leg long, just leaning straight forward. So you're kind of in the space between your bent left leg and your long right leg. Just giving that a really gentle acknowledgement. So as you lean forward, you'll feel perhaps inner line of your right leg or your hamstring, maybe your low back. But going toward the yummy layer of sensation, we're not trying to go towards making anything happen. And then maybe you walk yourself a little bit toward your right leg. And now you're leaning toward your right leg. And again, you can work with a longer spine or a little rounding, depending on what your body tolerates. And next invitation is to take your left hand around to plant it. And if you'd like to lift your hips for a moment. So now we go into a little variation of a side plank or even a little gate variation in here. And then just sitting back down. And we'll take that all on side two, switching it out. And we start with left ankle, one direction and the other. And shin around your knee. And the other way. I always get a few snap, crackle, pops in there. I understand why this is called wind removing shapes, right? We're getting the excess vata, excess wind out of the joints. So nice big hip circles in each direction. Good. And then left knee to inside of your right foot. And a few twists here. And it's very organic. So you can keep your hand on your hip. You can begin to reach your left arm. But most importantly, you are really following how your body wants to make the shape yours. And I like a lot of movement in these shapes, but you might prefer more stillness. And that's so valid. It's so beautiful. And then as we unwind here, left leg long, good. And then we start at the center, leaning over both legs, getting to know this side. And then maybe leaning a little closer to your left leg. And then this time it's right hand that plants, and an opportunity if you'd like to lift your hips. Just find a little bit of that heart opening shape here. Side body opening. One more breath. Gorgeous. And out we come. All righty. From here, I'm going to face the short end of my mat and invite you to bring your feet just wider than hips width apart, or about mat's width apart. And this sequence that I do at the beginning of most of our classes, for those of you that have been taking with me for a while, these are going to feel like, oh yeah, these are old friends I'm coming back to, hopefully, right? So we go into a little twist side to side. There's a deer twist from side to side. One knee falls inside of the opposite foot. And just like we did before, you can keep both hands on the ground the whole time. You might keep one hand on the ground and reach the other. And you know what's coming. Those of you that have been taking with me for a while, look, ma, no hands, right? You can take both hands off the floor and just get a little playful in this one. So we're starting to wake up in this process through the core of the body and letting that be playful along the way. A little bit of heat, a little bit more breath and balance. And one more. And then when you're ready, I'll invite you to come down onto your back. Good. So once you arrive on your back, I'll invite you to take hold of your right shin. So your hands can clasp around your right shin. And I'll invite you, for today's purposes, to flex through both feet. So a nice active movement here. And now we're going to press shin into hands, resist hands back to shin. So you've got this really strong resistance, active element to this shape. Next option here is to lift through your upper body. You do not need to do that. Another option here is to hover your left heel. In whichever version of this, and again, you can hover the heel and not lift through your head, in whatever version you're taking, let your action of that pressing knee or shin into hands and hands back into shin create just a little bit of shake. It's fierce, it's firm. Good. And then let that go. And then from here, I'll invite you to take your right foot down, hands behind your head, and turn toward your right side. And then from here, lifting through your left leg and lowering, and just allowing yourself to feel a little bit of that action in the static hold. And then lower down here, and we're going to find a static hold of upper body just toward the left with that left leg lift. Now, right foot can plant firmly. And just a few more of these. Good. And let's go ahead and switch that out. Through center, hands around your left shin. Give it a nice firm press, long right leg, flexing both feet. Begin to find that press, shin to hands, hands back into shin. You might stay here. You might lift through upper body. You might hover right foot. And whatever shape you're choosing, give it some firmness. Really give that press, shin to hands, hands back to shin. Might even create a little shake. And then let it go. We lower down, left foot plants, hands behind your head, twisting just to the left, and right leg moves. And then go ahead and lift your right leg, just twist to the right, and still it's the right leg moving. Beautiful. And back through center. This time, invitation is to take the soles of your feet together and your knees wide. Feet on the mat in this shape, and just the upper body moves. Exhale to lift, inhale to lower. So sometimes we have this shape in our clamshell action, which we'll do in a moment, but that's when we lift knees and elbows toward each other. This time, really ground through your feet and just feel the upper body alone. Exhale as you lift. Inhale, lower. And then lowering through your upper body. Option here is to reach your hands down and this time take a hold of the sides of your sticky mat. Let that be kind of a rooting down as you grip the sides of your sticky mat and then hover your feet off the mat. This might be a plenty and a great place to stay, or you might lift your legs up, lower them down. This time, exhale as you lift, inhale, lower. Just the lower body here. And then lowering your legs, hands behind your head. We put all of this together. Exhale, elbows, knees. Inhale to open. And you can always find any of those prior variations, just the upper body, just the legs, if that felt better for you. Can you sense that when elbows and knees come to each other, it's like a clamshell, there's a stickiness there that we're going for. We really draw all of your strength right into the center and then open it up one more time. And then last little bit here is to take this right into a bicycle, kind of cross crawl, side to side. We have a little extra core today because we've got some extra balancing as we come into standing, and this will prepare you for all of that. All right, one more each side. And go ahead and give your whole body a nice long stretch. Sigh something out. All right. And remember, we are coming into this awareness of the core of goodness within you. And sometimes waking up that tapas, that heat in the belly, is good fuel to bring that into the heart. Go ahead and draw your knees in, and we're going to rock and roll here a few times. Eventually, rocking up and over your shins will meet in a tabletop. And once you arrive there, give yourself some free movement, really letting yourself integrate all that we've done so far. Some spinal movements, joint rotations, breath awareness, and core awakening. How does your body want to integrate all of this? And integration might mean movement, or it might be going into more stillness, really sensing what's arising at this stage of practice for you. I'll also say, since there's several of you that are new with me today, that at any point you might decide that was enough. That was my class, right? This is one of those junctures where you might say, that was plenty for me to work with for today. And you can come back and do more when you feel ready. If you're wanting to move on and looking for some more guided movement, we'll go on from here. The next invitation is to wag your tail. So we'll find a little bit of a C curve of your spine as we go side to side with the upper body. Now your tailbone is moving in the same direction as your head and shoulders to give you that C curve. And one more layer here is you might lift through opposite shin and foot. And as you gaze over your shoulder, you see your tail behind you. And you can take this at any pace that serves you. I'll offer up to give this a little bit of a faster movement and breath. So it might look and sound like one more each side, and then back to center. Beautiful. And from here, I'll invite you to take your left heel, left foot back, and give a little heel rock here. Just giving your calf a little love. And then your upper body is going to walk its way around to the left so that, and in doing so, bring your right shin behind you, right foot behind you. Now we're in a nice setup here for gate pose, and I'll invite you to walk your hands up to your waist. And we'll start out with a traditional gate, leaning to the left. Good. And then lifting up, and we'll find a variation of this. This will be like a little King Arthur shape. That's how I've heard it referenced. But anyhow, bending through your left knee, it's like an extended side angle, except that we've got the right knee down. And we're just going to lean in and out toward that left foot and away, and letting your side bodies really luxuriate in this. You've got a contraction in one side body and an opening in the other. Good. And then we'll go up and over, right hand to the earth. And this time you can find a long line of your left side body as you bring your left arm overhead. And then pause here for a moment. You might bend through your elbow, shift your gaze, look down, make it yours. And next invitation, you can opt in or out, is to perhaps lift your left foot off the earth. Now we've got a little balance in here. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you bring elbow to knee and inhale. Exhale here, inhale. Maybe you reach behind and clasp your foot, and now we've got a little half bow. Now, doesn't matter whether or not you touch your foot, you can go into a kind of reach toward an intention toward that foot, still opening the heart, still opening the front body. And then unwind your leg, making your way back to the front, and you're in a tabletop. And just let that go for a moment. Wiggle it out. Sigh it out. And when you feel ready, side two. A few heel rocks. Those are so lovely, just right here. This can be such a beautiful opening. And then walking yourself around to the right. So you might pause here for a moment before walking your hands in preparation for gate. And we start with that traditional shape, leaning to the right. Enjoy that. And then perhaps if you did so on the other side, bending through your right knee, you can have your forearm on your thigh and leaning in and out. And again, we've got a contraction in the right side body and lengthening in the left side body. I know for me, I feel this in the opposite hip flexor. So my left hip flexor really feels a nice stretch in this one. We're going to go up and over, left hand to the earth, right leg long, right arm up overhead, and a few breaths here for your own free form movement from this home base. Good. And then perhaps sending your weight into your left hand, lifting your right foot off the earth. Inhale here. You can totally stay right here, or exhale, elbow to knee. One more like that. This time, inhale and reaching around. Now, maybe you take the foot, maybe you just stay in that intention of a half bow here. Doesn't matter. There's no better, worse, right, wrong. Finding yourself in whatever your chosen shape is. And then we exhale, release, and back around to tabletop. And a few free breaths here once again. Gorgeous. One more variation from our tabletop. And in this invitation, you can take your left leg back, find that 3 points of contact with the earth. Maybe you take your right arm forward, explore 2 points of contact with the earth. Notice what it requires to balance, why we did all of that core earlier. Inhale here. Exhale, and elbow to knee. Inhale. Exhale, elbow to knee. One more like that. Exhale. This time a change, we inhale and exhale, reaching back and around. And just like we did before, maybe you intend towards hand towards foot. Maybe they make contact. Maybe you press into a half bow. No right, no wrong. Listen to your body. I love offering you all challenges, but that doesn't, mean any reason to berate yourself if you don't meet them. Come on back through tabletop. And shake it off. Let that go. It's over. Okay, whether you found it or didn't, doesn't really matter. And through tabletop, we have all of that on side 2. This time it's right leg forward, a moment to calibrate, and great place to stay. Left arm forward, same thing. Stay here, or inhale and exhale under your body, elbow knee. Inhale, exhale. Inhale here. Exhale, hand back, bending right knee. Stay right here or make a connection. Doesn't matter either way. Give it a bow, give it a reach. And then release, let go, and let it go. Go ahead and press back into child's pose. After all of that, settling everything that you can into the earth. Maybe sigh something out. Maybe simply appreciating your willingness to engage and try new things. Explore a challenge. And I invite you to walk your hands off to the right. So from our child's pose, now another opportunity to greet left side body. You might even lift up onto fingertips of your left hand, breathing underneath your left shoulder blade. And then let's walk it off the other direction. Hands to the left, breathing into your right side body. Maybe you lift up onto your right fingertips, breathing the intercostals. And just like all of our openings, because there's layers today of opportunities for opening, each one is just one little piece. You don't have to go into the full extent of any stretch. And then coming back through center, through tabletop. And from here, you can walk your knees together if you'd like. Curl your toes under and just pressing back into a toes pose. You can always stay leaning forward. You might even add a little wrist stretch here, turning your fingers towards your knees. You can wiggle your way into this shape. Give your hips a little wiggle. Your shoulders can even shimmy here. You might walk yourself a little bit taller over your heels. You can even reach down, spread your toes wide. And just a chance to greet the soles of your feet. Mm. And whether that's sweet or spicy, it's over. So come on out and you can give your tops of your toes a little bit of a tap and then maybe sit down onto the tops of your heels. And we're compressing into the ankles. That might be plenty for your ankles. Some of you might want a little more, in which case you can lift one knee, the other. Maybe even shifting your weight back and letting both knees lift for a little bit, just balancing on to the tops of the feet. And once again, it's over. Well, good, well done. Curling your toes under, and this time lifting your knees up. And we give a nice little tight squat here. You can bounce it out. You can find stillness. Just getting to greet your joints of your legs in a different way. And then I like to take my knees down for this transition, taking feet wider and coming back now into a wider squat. So wider squat, and again, a chance to move around in the shape. You can lift one knee and lower, lift a heel and lower. Super. And then back down with your knees through tabletop, walking your hands about a handprint forward, curling your toes under, and now the opportunity to press into your first downward facing dog and take your time, make it yours, walk it out. You might shift your hips from side to side, rolling your heels from side to side, or find stillness. Whatever brings you home to yourself. And then an invitation is to walk your feet forward, and we'll find a bit of a ragdoll shape here. So bending your legs as deep as you'd like, maybe palms on the earth, a great place to use blocks to bring the earth closer to you if you'd like. Maybe you like to bring pinkies to elbow creases. Let your head hang heavy. You can nod it yes, shake it no. Let something go. Move your jaw around. Stick your tongue out, scrunch your face. Hmm. And then from here, invitation is to find a halfway lift of your spine. And exhale to lower. And then inhale, halfway lift. And then your way to standing. My preference is to go up with a long spine. If you prefer to roll up, find your way to standing. Our first time standing in this practice, and greet yourself here. You might have your hands by your sides or palm to palm over your heart or at your heart. A nice opportunity to come back into your intention, to sense that you are part of a great contract of goodness, to perhaps sense the core of goodness within you, and any other intention that you are bringing to today's practice. Lovely. So if and when you'd like to move on, I'll invite you to bring your arms up overhead. And this will be a little bit of a familiar shape. We found it before. And I'll invite you to start with right palm up, left palm down. And then just like we did before, go ahead and grip your fingertips towards each other. And then from that gripping here, just a gentle lean toward the right. Now, this might be less of a full side body opener as it is more of a shoulder, upper back. Maybe you sense it in your arms. And then through center, and then switching hands, left palm up, right palm down. Take that grip of your fingertips, and then leaning to the left. Sensing whatever opening this invites around your upper chest, upper back. And then up through center and shake out your arms, let that go. Your jaw go again. Variation on that one, and I'll turn to face away from you for a moment, is to take your right hand, placing it behind your upper back, and left hand to your right elbow. And then from here, leaning to the left, and then reaching your right elbow up. So again, it's less of a full side body experience, more in the upper arms and shoulders. And then let's come on up and out. Switching that out, bending left elbow, right hand takes hold of left elbow, and leaning to the right. And then we come up and out. This time, an invitation to clasp your hands behind your back, to draw your connected hands down behind you or back behind you, even better, lifting your heart just a bit here. And exhale into a forward fold with this connected hands into Yogi Mudra. You can bend your knees as much as you need to. You can widen your feet as much as you need to. And again, shaking your head, yes, no. Stick your tongue out, clench your jaw. Oh. And by way of your sacrum, releasing your hands down to the earth. And we'll find a halfway lift. Lengthen your spine, your heart. And exhale, planting hands, stepping back, finding a plank for a moment if you like. And then knees, bend your elbows, chest, chin, and settle your hips to the earth. From this shape close to the earth, we'll find some rolling cobras, and you get to choose how much weight in your hands, how much lift of your heart. Inhale, maybe exhale, and just find how your breath and movement want to move together. You might inhale down and exhale to lift, or you might find the opposite. See how your body gives you feedback. Maybe you inhale to lift, and exhale to lower. 3 more in your own time, your range of motion. And then your choice, how you'd like to move from here. Maybe you press back through another child's pose. Maybe through a table. Maybe making your way to downward facing dog. And we'll meet there when you feel ready. And from downward facing dog, making your way to the front of your mat. Arriving there, soft knees. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way to stand. This time, a side body bend, clasping left wrist with right hand and up and over to the right. Inhale through center and exhale to the left. We'll do that one more time, each side. Switching hands, right wrist, right hand hold left wrist. Inhale, center, left to right, leaning left. Gorgeous. And then as you come to center, this time back to those goalpost arms, and then using that to lift your heart. Inhale to lift up through center. And exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift. And exhale, planting hands, high to low, your way to the earth. Arriving on the earth a second time here. And this time I'll invite you to take your hands back behind you. We'll prepare for some variations here of locust, starting perhaps by just lifting through your legs. Just noticing the activation of the muscles in your back body, saying hello, and then letting that go. Next time, if you'd like, just lifting through your shoulders. And then again, letting that go. You can take your hands, stack them under your forehead for a moment, maybe rock your hips from side to side. And then one more variation here, sending your hands back once again, tops of hands on the earth. And then this time, if you'd like, lift everything up off the earth. Again, feeling the back line of your body, waking that up. And then exhale, plant your hands, and we'll all press back for a moment, child's pose. Letting that one go. Perhaps deepening the breath, sensing that this is a wonderful moment. Breathing in, breathing out. You might even sense that you can breathe all the way to your tailbone. Let something go. Finding ease. And then gently, slowly through tabletop and eventually to downward facing dog. And then you get to choose how you want to make your way to the front of your mat, allowing yourself to take a sauntering walk or hop there, and arriving, folding, coming all the way up to standing. Beautiful. Good. And here we are at standing once again. We're going to find a similar variation, taking hold of the wrist, this time with a little curtsy step variation. It's playful and fun. So I'll invite you to take your right hand to left wrist, just like we did before. And as we lean to the right, you might take your left foot behind. You can explore where you want your gaze forward or down or lifted. And then through center, we'll switch it out, left hand, right wrist. As you lean to the left, little curtsy step behind. Both knees are bent. Let it feel a little magical, like your body gets to create beauty through these shapes. I think you can read that fine print in your own atomic structure. Go ahead and come through center and let that go. Let's find it one more time. Feels good. Right hand, left wrist, left hand, left foot behind, little side body, curtsy, and through center, and side two, taking right wrist, leaning left, right foot behind. And up through center. Good. And then from here, allowing yourself to find an Utkatasana, bending through your knees, maybe reaching your arms up, finding your breath, maybe sending your arms back, maybe clasping your hands once again, sending your arms slightly up and back. Great place to stay. Maybe you lift your heels, find a little challenge balance. And then let's lower heels. Inhale all the way to standing. And exhale, forward fold. Finding a halfway lift, inhale. And your way to downward facing dog. And at this point, you might just step right there. You might be laying on your back in Shavasana at this point, all well and good. Whatever you're choosing, if you're going forward, we're going to go ahead and lift through the right leg and exhale forward and through into a low lunge. And this time with left knee down. So we had a little variation of this earlier. This time we're facing forward, and you can take a few breaths here in and out of your lunge. This is a beautiful place for blocks. Getting to know hip flexor, hamstring. And then a little guided movement here. If you're opting in, you might draw your arms up overhead. And just like we did standing, take a hold of your left wrist and give a little bit of a lean to the right. It doesn't have to be much, and it might be a little to the right, and you might see it better this way, and slightly back, breathing into that hip flexor of the left leg. Good. And then up through center, back to our goalpost arms, and a little bit of a heart lift here. Good. One more breath in that. And exhale, sending your arms back, curling your left toes under, and we'll lift left knee. So now we're in a crescent variation here, arms back. And let's go ahead and open it up into a warrior two. You might take a few breaths here, greeting this shape, getting to know your body in the shape. And then settling in for warrior two for a moment. Maybe gazing over your right fingertips. What are you setting your sights on? How can this power pose support you to reach toward that potential in yourself? And an invitation to reach away from your right leg. And exhale, long, long, long. We're lengthening through right leg, long, long, long into triangle, into Trikonasana. So you might have your hand on your shin, great place for a block. And with our emphasis on side body today, you might even explore how it feels to take your left arm overhead. Softening through your jaw, through your gaze, through your neck. You can explore a little bit of how you want your head to be positioned in this shape. And you can even bend through your left elbow and then reach long. Gorgeous. And then on an inhale, I invite you to rebend through your right leg. We lift up for a breath and exhale as you come to earth, both hands to the inside of your right leg, turning your left heel up. So now we're in a bit of a lizard lunge, a low lunge here. You can lower your knee. You can stay lifted. You can come to elbows. You can have hands on blocks. Lots of variations in this shape. And this is a beautiful place to stay. There's also an option here to take this into dragon. So I'm just turning my body for visual purposes here. In dragon, we open the right foot out to the right, knee moving toward the right, and you can take your right hand on your right thigh to open through the heart. This is a beautiful place to stay. You might bend left knee. You might take hold of your left foot. And just a few breaths. Like I said, lots of bow shapes today, opening all around the heart. You can feel perhaps that as you kick your foot into your hand, it helps to open around that heart space. And then we let go, release, make your way to downward facing dog. Pedal it out. You can always rest in table, child's. Or when you're ready for side two, stepping forward with your left foot, right knee to the earth, and a few free breaths here. In and out. Might this feel good? How could you adjust this shape so that it really feels supportive for you? Mm. When you feel ready, and if you liked this on side one, we're coming upright, taking a hold this time of right wrist to take a little lean to the left and maybe just slightly back. Just feeling all of that connection. As we get into the psoas and hip flexors today, we can really sense that that connective tissue of psoas goes into the diaphragm, which wraps around your heart. It's all connected. Let's come on out of that shape, and we'll find that goalpost here, lifting upward, expanding diaphragm and heart space. And then through center, on an exhale, sweeping your arms back, right toes curled under to lift your right knee. And we're in this variation of crescent lunge, leaning forward, arms reaching back behind. And then let's open it up. Warrior two. And a few breaths in and out of your shape. Maybe finding your way to settle into the shape and greeting yourself inside of the shape. And then from here, lengthening through your left leg to reach away. And then long reach, reach, reach forward, and then tilting your arms, finding your way into Trikonasana, hand on shin, hand on block. And then you might explore that side body variation with right arm up overhead. And any movements that make this yours. Beautiful. Slowly rebending through your left knee. Inhale and exhale, hands to the inside of your left foot, right heel lifts, and then toe heeling it out for your variation of lunge. This might be lizard lunge. You can have back knee lifted or lowered. You might be on hands or blocks or forearms. Good. And this is a fabulous place to stay. Some of you might want to take this up into dragon. And dragon can sometimes be really accessible using that block, right? So that we're actually lifting the upper body even more as we turn to the left. So see what your body needs as support to greet shapes. And then maybe you reach back around, maybe just intending in that direction. Maybe you clasp. And then let it go. Up and around. Your way to downward dog. And this time, making your way to the front, finding halfway lift. And we come all the way up to standing, and we'll find a little bit of balance. We've prepared for it in so many ways in all of our floor and previous work up till now, lunge work. So we're going to play with variations of dancer. And I'm going to just show you really quick how we're going to link these different shapes. So you might watch just a very quick rendition, and then I'll walk you through it much more slowly. So variation one is going to be classic dancer, where we catch the inside of the right foot with the right hand, and then with a little bend in the left knee and a little balance, we can reach into dancer. Now, again, this is a quick demo. We're not staying here. From here, we're going to release from that shape, and I'll invite you to take a variation here of Natarajasana. Natarajasana in Sanskrit, the dancer. This time hovering right foot forward, left hand in an arc, right hand in an arc, a little bit like that kind of dancey curtsy that we did. Different beautiful variation. And then lastly, taking left hand, right foot behind, and we come into a dancing bow this way. So playful is a key word, okay? If you come on out of it, floor is not that far, but keep yourself safe. You can use a wall, you can use a chair, a windowsill. So find the variations that serve you. We will start with left leg as standing leg, bending through the right knee, taking right foot behind, and you're going to open your right hand like you've got a tray, and then taking your hand down so you catch your right foot from the inside. Now, this is already dancer's shape, right? You don't have to take it into any further bow. This is plenty. If you're moving forward, you might begin to send your foot into your hand, creating that bow-like shape with your leg. You can keep a slight micro bend in your left knee. You might reach your left arm forward and find your breath. And balance can sometimes be tricky, and that's part of the experience. It's part of the dance. Good. When you're ready, we're going to open this up. And if you touch down, fine. And if you don't, that's all fine too. And we're going to take this into this variation. So now, right leg forward, left hand reaching, right arm overhead. Just feel the beauty here, the magic of what you get to create. And right foot now behind, left hand reaches around to catch the top of your foot. And now we have a reverse dancer. And when you feel complete and ready, letting it go, 2 feet on the earth, shake out your left leg if you'd like, shake out your hips, arms, shoulders, and then a moment of stillness. A moment of stillness, returning to the breath. Breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. Breathing in, I can sense that I am a part of a great contract of goodness. Breathing out, I can sense that core of goodness that lives inside of me. Side 2, right leg is your standing leg. You can give yourself a little bit of prep time here, and then sending your left leg back, left hand like a tray so that you're taking hold of your foot from the inside. This is a great place to stay, or you might find that bow here. Notice how your breath supports balance, how your gaze supports balance. And then slowly, gently, we come around, left leg forward, right hand bracing, left above your head. Just a pause here. This kind of floating Natarajasana shape. And then around we go. Right hand takes hold of left foot. And this time a reverse dancer. There you are, caught in the middle of space and this earth that's moving in circles and spirals, in this universe that's expanding and contracting. Here you are in the middle of all of that. Come on out. Dancing in the middle of all of that. Releasing your hands by your side. If you need to shake something out again, shake it out. And then coming into stillness for a moment. Sensing your heart. Your willingness to dance your way toward the heart, towards this core of joy and bliss, that birthright of all beings. And I'll invite you to come towards the front of your mat. We're going to make our way down just gently, slowly. And if you want to just come right on down to your belly, that's where we're going to meet. Finding a halfway lift, inhale. And exhale, planting your hands and knees, chest, chin to the earth. One final integrative shape from here that is putting it all together. We'll find floor bow. And if this is not for you today, honor that. If you're wanting to find this final shape here, bending through both knees, reaching around to clasp both feet or ankles, and then pause. And then inhale here. And exhale. And inhale. Kick your feet into your hands. Let everything expand. Just 3 breaths. And let it go. From here, palm over palm, underneath your forehead, you can open your legs wide, turn your feet wide into crocodile. Let your head be heavy. Say something out. Let something go. Beautiful. When you feel ready, pressing up and back, and I'll invite you to make your way to your back. You can just also roll over and land on your back from that crocodile shape. However you get there, once you arrive, I'll invite you to explore any final shapes that you need to integrate your practice. So this might be a happy baby. You might want to find a bridge pose, a supine figure 4, greeting your hips. I'm not guiding through a supine twist, so if you want that, find it here. And your body might take you into shapes that don't have some known yoga pose or Sanskrit name, but that just simply feel good to you, and therefore they are just right. It is your body's wisdom. It's guiding you through the language of sensation to take great care of you. And then when you feel complete with your movements, Finding final resting shape. That might be Shavasana. That might be legs up a wall. It might be Supta Baddha Konasana, feet together, knees wide. Whatever shape you choose, let it feel supportive, nourishing, a place where you can scan your body and notice any lingering tension. And with breath and awareness, invite yourself to release and let go of any unnecessary holding so that you can just reside for these last few minutes, simply receiving the benefits of your practice into every cell of your body. I will offer up the words of Shalon Harkin's poem, Read the Fine Print, one more time through here. Some days I awaken so certain of the world's goodness. This poem is a reminder for those other days when I need to convince my stubborn mind that all is still well. Let me present the evidence. Have you noticed all the fastidious care that went into pinning up so many stars to decorate the night sky? What did that? And the way all of nature has a tidiness to it, even gnarled trees, even dirt. Or sit a moment and puzzle over the masterful origami of each flower and think what cosmic interior decorator chose that gold for those rolling hills. And before that, who thought up tenderness? Who is it that came up with all those colors, and what genius said autumn? My only simple conclusion as I sit amazed at the pileup of gifts is that we're part of a great contract of goodness. And there's love written into every atom if you get close enough to read the fine print. And with that said, I will invite you to prepare to shift out of your resting shape and to return to the world. And of course, all of that also considers that if you are deeply resting and do not want to move yet, stay there. Stay there as long as you can and would like. Otherwise, wiggling your fingers, your toes, hands around the wrists, feet around the ankles, a little bit of movement on your mat, wriggle and roll, and eventually making your way back up to sitting, where I will invite you to one more time reflect on that contract of goodness that we are all part of. I want to thank each and every one of you for being part of this community of goodness and celebrating, bowing from that core of goodness within me to the core of goodness within you. Namaste.